Okay, welcome back, guys. This is the second part of video walkthrough of Mystery at the Station cache. Alright, so in the last video, if you remember, we went through the first stage of the cache and we got a series of clues. There's a couple sets of coordinates in this in this cache. One set is written in writing at the bottom of newspaper fragments. We're going to separate those from other coordinates that we find. I'll display them accordingly on the screen as they should be. So what else we got? Oh yeah, okay, so our clue, we had a clue about a maze. There's a maze. I want to point out something here. I really want to show you something interesting to take note of. Okay, right now we're in the stables. If we go upstairs, it takes us to the second floor, which is the hayloft, okay? Which appears to be the top floor, top level of the station. If we look out, take note of the windows. They don't have glass, so we go back down. Let's actually go outside and look at the building from the outside. But up there we've got this green glass, and then up there we see another window. The wooden windows was the second floor of the hayloft that we explored, but what's this middle layer with glass? I don't remember seeing any glass there. There must be more to this building that we don't know about. Dun dun dun. The maze says look for a secret button that leads to what horses eat, that activates what horses drink, that activates the closet. Again, that's pretty much a giveaway. But where's this button, first of all? Well, if we come in here, we see some flowers. Now remember our color-coded system? The presence of these blue flowers means somewhere nearby there is a button that activates something. So we have to kind of look around. Ooh, what's this? Press that. Okay, so that activated something. We don't know what it activated, but we heard something go off. So let's explore. So the clue said the button activates what horses eat. So it must be in the stable. What do horses eat? Oh! We've got a switch and a button underneath it. Okay, so let's pull the switch. Okay, that switch activated something. Let's push the button. Okay, so the button closed that up behind us, so we don't have to worry about anyone finding that after we've found it. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, now that was what horses eat. And then it said it activates what horses drink. Water here. Water there. Water here. But I can't really climb into a cauldron, so. But what's this over here? A trough? Go right down. Haha. What do we have here? A little room. Please come back later to flick this switch before you leave this site. To leave door locked up. Okay, so we're going to want to close everything up behind ourselves. We don't want to leave all this open for any wandering visitor to stumble upon it. That's why normally I'm not worried of anybody accidentally finding something or messing something up. It's all safe because it's all hidden. We want to keep it hidden. We want to keep it hidden from the muggles. Okay, that switch activated. Obviously, the clue says that activates the closet. Muggles, by the way, are anyone. It's a term in it's a term in geocaching that refers to anyone who doesn't know about geocaching. Oh, look at this! And so this takes us to our maze. This is a whole level of the building that is totally hidden, and no one would ever suspect the thing. I doubt anybody would actually look on the outside and actually realize that they had not seen this level of the building on the inside. We have here a closet with a pumpkin face. What do we have? Book X coordinate. It says this maze contains all 3 chords to your next clue. Here is one piece. Okay, so it's very clear. This is a piece of a set of coordinates that leads us to our next stage of the game. So we'll write that down. X -4101. Put that book back. Okay, moving on. Well, we have some paintings. That's pretty much all we've got to go on here. Is there's paintings here. Oh, that was interesting. Now we can continue down the maze. Now we're at another place. First of all, we got a painting here. We can't go through. Oh, we can go through the painting, but we're not going to go through that painting right now because that comes a little later. Let's continue down the maze. We know we're kind of looking for these pumpkin closets because they have our clues. That's what we're really wanting to find. There's a book. Y coordinate. This maze contains all 3 coordinates to your next clue. Here is one piece. And there's our Y coordinate. That's the height. It's at level 62. So we write that down. Put the book back. And let's continue on. Oh, interesting. Okay. It didn't do anything, but pick that up. And now takes us to our final piece here, the Z coordinate. And there's our Z coordinate, -2082. Put that back. So now we have a full set of coordinates to our next stage of the cache. Remember, these don't correlate to that first X coordinates we found in the newspaper fragment. These coordinates bring us to the next stage. Alright. So, we're done with the maze. We've solved the maze. Now let's get the fuck out of here. Wait a minute. Here. It closed back up on us. I told you I'm evil. Don't panic. What's down here? Okay. Judging by the red flowers, we know we need to throw something at this painting. So, let's do it. And there's our exit. That's how we get out. I mean, no one would ever suspect a thing there. It just looks like decoration. most people probably won't even notice that little detail there, so it all works out nicely. Okay, so we've solved the maze, we've made our exit. We do need to close this back up so no one would see anything there if they came back that way. So pull that lever, close that closet back up. Press that button. Come in here, pull that switch. We'll see that now there's nothing here, which is the beauty of this secret, is that no one would suspect a thing normally. Now we can come back and press that button, closes that back up, and we've completed stage 2. Okay, so we have a set of coordinates to our next clue. Now that set of coordinates is going to take us outside of this building, and it's nighttime right now, so I'm going to find that bed and change it to morning. Before we go to where the coordinates take us, there's another thing I want to explore here. What about that well? Supposedly, you know, our story told us that there's a well, and it's you know, kind of spooky, it's mysterious, it's got this water that supposedly glows at night. What's the deal with this well? We gotta check this out. The old well. It's got a ladder. Let's go swimming. Oh! We got a metal door here and looks like a button. Oh. Ooh, a chest. Interesting. Fragment B. Alright. Well, we've read fragment A of the newspaper. We found another newspaper fragment. It says it's the same newspaper as before. Remember, this is I believe from 1909, somewhere around in there. It says, a company insider and former operations manager who wishes to remain anonymous recently informed us that not only was Old Monroe still holding position of CEO of the company, but that they had discovered something in those mines under Shadowbrook 15 years ago that at the time was thought best the public not know about. He informs me the subject of this cover-up has been the cause of many miners either going crazy and suffering a permanent mental breakdown or disappearing entirely. We bored too deep in those mines and uncovered a horror that lurks at those problematic depths that I cannot speak of for fear of losing my own sanity. I cannot say it started with the uncovering by one of our miners of an uncanny form of stone embedded in that rock of the deepest of our branching tunnels. A stone which displayed physical properties none of us had ever seen before. I was immediately summoned to the site of this strange finding to have a look. The thing had no specific color that could be identified. It radiated a bright glow of strobing light, always changing rapidly, as it emanated multiple colors of the light spectrum from green, blue, red, and sometimes white light. This stone did not seem to give off heat, as prodding it with the butt end of the wooden handle of my pickaxe did not make any burns or impressions on the handle. However, a faint humming or whining sound could be heard coming from the glowing subject in the rock. So strange was this finding that I ordered most of our mining crew to go home for the day, keeping only a small crew of our most trusted miners to block off and remain for warden duty of the site. They would be armed with muskets and well stocked with provisions to sustain them for at least a week of continuous duty. Meanwhile, I called forth our CEO, Mr. Monroe himself, to come and investigate this unusual find. The remainder of events that day and subsequent 3-month period are a blur to me, a total blur. For since laying my eyes on that unworldly specimen deep in the earth, my mind and thought processes seem to have been taken over by an external power. I just did not feel as myself for that brief 3-month period of fuzzy recollection. I remember possessing a consciousness of something beyond this earth and thinking of my normal human self, the man whom my body belongs, in terms of the third person. It's something I have the hardest time explaining or finding the words to describe my experience of that time. Many of the events I do remember of that period, I just cannot gather the courage to talk about. As for that day when Mr. Monroe arrived at the site of that uncanny stone in the rock, I do remember this much. After leading Monroe into the canvas tent my men had enclosed around the site of the glowing stone, he paused in what seemed like a long 5 minutes of silence upon his initial gazing at what we had uncovered. Then, without taking his eyes away, he motioned me away to leave him alone with the strobing specimen. When about an hour later, Monroe finally emerged from the flaps of canvas. He turned to face me squarely, with a sinister expression I had never seen on any man's face before. He pierced into my soul with his deep black eyes, his pupils looking like giant black saucers that seemed to swallow my whole field of view for that moment. After a long second of eye contact, which I found deeply unsettling, the man turned and walked off without a word. As I mentioned before, my recollection of events of that period are a blur and disjointed. I don't recall ever seeing Vale Monroe again after that day. In the preceding weeks after the discovery of that strange stone in the mines, our company went through many dramatic changes in staff, in policies, and the general goals of the company. For starters, every company employee had been ordered under an oath of secrecy with regard to the West-Northwest Monroe mining operations, with the threat of death to any man who breaks that oath. Above the torn-away bottom edge of the newspaper fragment are some sloppily scrawled words written in red ink. So again, this is red ink at the bottom of the newspaper. We have X from the previous newspaper fragment, and now this is giving us Y. Y 120, so. But there's more. It also says, in that same red ink, it says, "I am well, and I feel more alive than ever before." This is dated May 28th, 1985. I don't know who could that be? 85. It says papers torn away right here. Oh. Whoever is writing these clues, well, I think you suspect by now that this Vale Monroe character lived on. Okay, so we'll put that back. Okay, now let's blow this joint, and we can now actually, we're gonna go up the ladder here. Okay, I'm gonna end this video here. In the next video, we will continue on to stage 3 of this mine cache. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.